everybody. It's Attorney Gerald Griggs, President of the Georgia State Conference, and we are here for another episode of Voices of Justice, the Georgia NAACP podcast. And we are super excited about today's episode as we get to highlight the work of the units here in the state of Georgia. And I'm super excited to have the president of the Cherokee County NAACP, Archie Doswell, who is with us, who will be giving us information about what's going on in Cherokee County. What is it like to be on the ground here in Georgia, making sure we are fighting for people's social justice and civil rights, and we are holding the powerful accountable. So I want to welcome to the platform President Archie Doswell. We give him a big round of applause. Mr. President, how you doing?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's a Friday, so we are, doing this work. But I wanted to bring you on. It was back in November that I was up there for the Freedom Fund, and I was so impressed by the work that's happening in the unit. Kind of orient everybody. Tell everybody what the Cherokee County NAACP is all about and what you've been doing.
First of all, we're a relatively new chapter. This is our fourth year in existence. And the first, priority for us has been to expand our footprint in the county itself. The chapter was formed in the southern part of the county, which is basically just across the line from Cobb County. And so we have been focused on, expanding our footprint and gaining recognition throughout the county, and particularly in the northern section of the county, primarily in the Canton area. And so we have held a number of events in the area to gain more recognition, as well as increase our outreach to governmental agencies and organizations such as churches in the area as well. We've had 2 years running, we've had our Juneteenth celebration in the Canton area. And this past year, we attracted over 600 people as guests at our celebration, which included a large number of vendors and arts and crafts salespeople. So, so far, so good. We're starting to have a fair amount of success in that area.
And so that's wonderful for a new unit to be as impactful. Tell us how you were able to achieve this amount of impact this early.
Well, first of all, we started to create some partnerships and some relationships. As an example, the site that we hold our Juneteenth celebration, we basically reached out to them, and this was a first for them as well as for us. And we formed a partnership that they allowed us to use their facility. It's the actual, it's the mill on Etowah, which is a large retail / venue for that includes both a large outdoor space as well as indoor spaces for banquets and those types of things. And through that partnership, they provided us with some of their services, kind of gratis. We also reached out to attend the Cherokee County Council meetings on a regular basis, and as a consequence, we formed some partnerships with the county as well, to the extent that they even issued a proclamation declaring Juneteenth a holiday in the county. So it's through those kinds of relationships. We attend as many of the official events that the county has, such as the state of Cherokee County or the state of Woodstock presentations that are given by mayors to keep us abreast of actually what direction the county is actually going into. So it's outreach, it's presence, it's attendance at and participation in parades like 4th of July and the Christmas parade. So we have a lot of activities that we focus on in terms of attempting to expand both our presence and our outreach.
Definitely. And so, in expanding that presence and that outreach, you have certain initiatives that you've undertaken. What do you think are the top initiatives that this unit has been doing and will continue to do as we move into 2024?
Well, we have focused on creating some programs that get us closer to the lives of our constituents within the community. First and foremost, we created a scholarship program for STEM students in the Cherokee County school system. And this past year, we actually awarded 8 laptops to graduating STEM students, the students that will graduate this year. And we were really pleased with the quality and the educational performance of those people that did apply. We've also created a free book program that focuses on providing free books that are more Afrocentric for kids that are from the first grade all the way to the 12th grade. We also have created a partnership with the First Readers Program that provides one book a month for kids ages 0 up to kindergarten, and it's age-appropriate material, and it focuses on creating an environment within the home of these kids where reading becomes a part of their day-to-day lives and also provides hopefully a firm foundation for future educational endeavors on their part. We also have started to reach out to veterans in the community. We actually recognized one of the oldest veterans in the county at our Freedom Fund banquet in November as well. So, we have some programs that are that are firmly in place, and others that are being planned going forward. This year, we're looking at more fundraising that we can conduct in order to help support even greater programs within the community. But we do have a strong community outreach focus for the chapter.
Yeah, and I thoroughly appreciate that strong outreach. But I wanted to dig a little deeper into that first reader program and the books because, at the Freedom Fund, the quality, the high quality of these books, how were you able to stand that program up, and how can it be a model to the rest of the state to focus on that early reading in our community that will build lifelong learning?
Well, we first started with soliciting our membership. Our membership. We all as members of the NAACP, we either have kids or we have grandkids in some instances, in many instances, and so we reached out to them, to those members, and the First Readers Program is a combination for us at least. It's a combination of individuals providing donations and funding for, as a startup to get the program started. And it's a relatively small monetary commitment on the subscribers' parts. And many of our members provided subscriptions for their own grandchildren and for their own kids. To get the program moving even further, the chapter, through the executive board and the general membership, agreed that we would, on a longer-term basis, provide funding for the program, so that in those instances where there were kids who needed or who wanted to participate in the program, or parents of kids who wanted to participate in the program but actually couldn't afford the subscription fee, that the chapter would, through its fundraising efforts, pay for those things. So we're committed as far as that program is concerned. As far as the books for kids who are ages first grade kindergarten through the 12th grade, those books were provided to us by a donation of an organization who actually physically gave us the books, and in fact, we for the first time we were able to actually display and distribute some of the books at our Freedom Fund banquet, and we were surprised at how quickly the supply of books that we were providing were, I guess, scooped up, I guess, by our attendees. And many took multiple books because they perhaps had kids or grandkids, various ages. But the books are, very, very much Afrocentric, and I think they provide they fill a space that seems to be developing in public school systems, in particular here at Cherokee, where seems to be an effort to more or less eliminate the kinds of materials that would create any sense of diversity within the school system. So that's been our focus. That's how we got started, and this year we have even greater plans that are going forward in terms of distributing the books in situations where, like, let's say we have a membership drive or we have the opportunity to do voter registration and those types of things. We're going to essentially combine multiple activities to help distribute the books and as well as promote the programs.
Absolutely. And I want to transition into my next question. There are a lot of issues on the horizon in the state. What do you see are the top issues on the horizon in Cherokee County that the unit will tackle? What do you think those top issues are?
First and foremost, I believe it's the getting people registered and out to vote, both in the primary and the general election this year, because there's so much at stake in terms of who actually sits in the president's seat on a national basis. We are somewhat fortunate in that in the county we do seem to have a reasonably high level of percentage-wise of registered African Americans. However, the county is growing by leaps and bounds, and what was at the time when I first moved here some years ago, where African Americans were a conspicuous minority. I'm saying probably around less than 2% of the general population. We're now getting closer to 10%. So there's a great deal of opportunity, and particularly for people who have recently transitioned to the county because perhaps they have not actually been registered or changed their registration. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and we're trying to work through our membership committee and our political action committee to enhance the level of registration. We also have in the past actually done things like provided rides and the like, and encouraged our members and challenged our members to get other people that they know out to vote on voting days.
Absolutely. And so we all know that there's a statewide push and, of course, a local push to get people registered and mobilize them to vote. Specifically, what do you see the challenges that we face to get that done, but also what do you think the successes have been in Cherokee County, particularly in achieving that in the previous elections, and how we would do it moving forward?
I think that in terms of our previous success that we had, part of the challenge is funding, quite frankly, and also having the appropriate level of resources. I'm talking about manpower to actually get people involved and engaged. That's going to be a challenge, I believe in almost every situation. And for us, it's going to be a particular challenge because we are a relatively small chapter. So I guess that's my number one challenge is where do we find the manpower to get out and do the things that need to be done in terms of calling people or knocking on doors if that's necessary. how do we get people engaged and excited about the opportunities there as well? And so that's part of our planning process that we're currently engaged in. And I would hope that we can find some reasonable solutions to those problems and also get as many people as we can, both members of our chapter as well as non-members, to be engaged in that process.
Absolutely. And so as we transition from 2023 into 2024, what do you perceive for your unit will be the pathway to success, not just for voting, but for candidate and elected official accountability after we make sure we turn out?
I think that for us, because this is almost a one-party system as far as elected officials and that type of thing. I think that we have to attend as many meetings, governmental meetings, and presentations as we possibly can. Ask the elected officials the tough questions in terms of the direction that they're going politically. And we also have to understand and have them understand what our needs are in terms of the things that we would promote, and also the things that we're perhaps not totally happy about in terms of the direction that the county's going. So those are the things at this point I believe that we need to focus on. And again, it gets back to attending as many presentations and meetings and those types of things throughout the county where elected officials are either presenting or present, to let them know that we are engaged and that we are what we're going to do or what we're going to focus on as a chapter in terms of holding elected officials accountable and having them better understand what we are trying to do and what's important to us. And that really boils down to ensuring that they understand through our attendance at meetings, be it a school board or be it a political presentation, anything along those lines of what our issues are. And we have to be, we have to speak rather vociferously about the issues that face us in the school system. Not just the school system, rather, more the county as a whole, where we have some concerns.
Absolutely. And so, this podcast is going to go out to the entire state conference. So if you had an opportunity to speak to all of the 130 other units, what would you say to them as far as how to grow a newer unit and continue to that trajectory of success that y'all have had?
I think first and foremost, you have to have a dedicated cadre of people who are willing to work. Most of as a new chapter, you should pretty much start out with a small group of people who are actually willing to work, and you have to grow that membership and those people who are willing to work over time. We find that many people are willing to join the organization, but they're not necessarily as engaged as we would like for them to be. The other thing I think you have to focus on as a chapter is leadership. The very people who are, let's call them founding members of the organization, may not always stay engaged on a long-term basis. So you need to recruit to the organization potential leaders for the future. In our case, we find that we have some leadership will eventually age out. And when I say age out, they may be retired or they may get to a point where they don't have the energy, let's say, because of their age. to continue in a leadership role. So you have to have folks that are willing to replace, the founding members and take the chapter forward. And it's always good to bring new people in to an organization to get new ideas, to be able to set a new direction, and people who have a commitment to the mission of the NAACP. That's probably those are probably the most important things that a new chapter can focus on. Secondly, I would say that you quickly find as a new chapter that to do the things that you really need to do to grow the chapter, fundraising becomes an integral part of your ultimate success. And so, as a new chapter, you need to focus on developing contacts within the community who can become potential donors, people who will support specific programs through grants, as well as people who will, from time to time, provide in-kind types of services as well, or contributions as well. So it's a difficult. Sometimes it can be a difficult thing to do as a new chapter, but your ultimate success really depends on your ability to ultimately finance those things that you really need to do to have an impact within the community and also promote the mission of the NAACP.
Absolutely. And so as we start to wrap up, what would you say in the next 5 years would be the ultimate best outcome for this unit in moving Cherokee County forward for African Americans and people of color?
In the next 5 years, what would be the I guess my vision, or I think the chapter's vision, would be, one is to have a more diverse membership geographically within the county. We are at this moment working towards developing plans that move us further into some of the outer reaches of the county where there are pockets of long-standing, I guess, or long-standing residents of the county who currently are not engaged in the NAACP. We plan to work through churches and other organizations in order to increase that outreach. 5 years, within 5 years, we would hope to actually double our membership to around the 200 level, and we would also expect that we would have even better programs and more impactful programs that provide services to our constituents within the county. There's a great deal of opportunity that currently goes untouched, and we want to embed ourselves within the county at almost virtually every level.
Okay.
So that's our 5 year. That would be my 5 year projection in terms of where the county stands, or where the chapter stands within the Cherokee County area.
Okay. And so as we wrap up, how can people get involved and stay engaged and stay in contact with you and the Cherokee County NAACP?
First and foremost, through our website and Facebook page, which that includes information in terms of our email address as well as the chapter's phone number. We are a virtual chapter to the extent that we don't have a physical presence or office, but you can easily get in contact with us through information that's contained on those two sites. Our email address is Cherokee County GANAACP.org, and that's the primary place that I think that you could find very quickly all of our contact information, as well as the things that we're doing within the county currently.
Thank you. And so One last final thought. What final thought would you leave for the Georgia State Conference and all the NAACP peers out there as we move forward into 2024?
The challenges that we face in the current election cycle will have a generational impact on African Americans within this country, and they could be either positive or negative. For those of us who have been long-term members, I guess, of the struggle, I see the impact as potentially positive if we get a positive outcome at the polls. We need to make every concerted effort and put every resource possible to achieving a outcome that helps advance civil rights, people rights, criminal justice within the United States of America. We each have to do our own part to make this happen. No effort is too small. No effort is too big. So hopefully we can place the resources where necessary to make that happen. But it's only going to be through hard work and sacrifice.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you on behalf of the Georgia State Conference and the Executive Committee for taking time to give this wisdom and talk about what's happening in Cherokee County. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Voices of Justice here with Voices of Justice with the Georgia State Conference. We are committed to lifting up the voices of all of the units in real time. And that's why everyone should subscribe to Voices of Justice on all streaming platforms to make sure you're up to date on what's happening in the Georgia State Conference of the NAACP. I'm Attorney Gerald Griggs, the president of the Georgia State Conference, and I will be with you at the next episode of Voices of Justice.